Hello everyone, and welcome to the Funny to Tears channel. Today we're diving headfirst into a story that proves some of us were just not born to be chefs. It all started on a Tuesday, a day that felt perfectly ordinary. I decided I was going to be a domestic goddess. My mission? To bake a magnificent 3-layer chocolate cake for my friend's birthday. I had the recipe, a pristine apron, and an overly optimistic attitude. What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler alert, everything. The recipe called for separating 6 eggs. Easy, right? I'd seen it done in movies 100 times. You crack the egg, you toss the yolk back and forth between the shell halves, and voila! Egg whites in one bowl, yolks in another. My first attempt resulted in a splattered mess of yolk and white all over the counter. The second egg disintegrated in my hand. Shell fragments included. By the 4th egg, I had a single, lonely egg white in one bowl, and a bizarre, chunky, yellow and white soup in the other. I decided, hey, close enough, and chucked it all into the mixer. This was my first mistake, but oh, it was far from my last. Next up, melting the chocolate. The recipe said, gently melt in a double boiler. I don't own a double boiler. I'm not even sure what that is. Is it a pot that went to medical school? So I did what any resourceful but culinarily challenged person would do. I put the chocolate in a regular pot and cranked the heat up to high. I thought, faster melting means faster cake. I turned away for what felt like 10 seconds to answer a text, and when I turned back, my kitchen was filled with a smell I can only describe as burnt sadness. The chocolate had transformed from a silky block of potential joy into a blackened, rock-hard lump of despair. It was completely fused to the bottom of the pot. I tried to chisel it out with a spoon, which promptly bent in half. My beautiful pot was now a modern art sculpture titled Aspiration's End. At this point, a sensible person would have given up and ordered a cake. But I am not a sensible person. I am a stubborn person. I found some old chocolate chips in the back of the pantry and decided to try again. This time, I microwaved them. The first 30 seconds were fine. I stirred. The next 30 seconds, smoke. Thick, acrid smoke began pouring out of the microwave. The fire alarm started shrieking, a sound that harmonized perfectly with my own internal screaming. I flapped a tea towel at the smoke detector, trying to silence its judgment, all while the microwave continued its smoky protest. I finally yanked the door open and was greeted by a bowl of what looked like volcanic rock. The chocolate chips had become a single, unified, carbon-based life form. So, no melted chocolate. Fine. I figured I'd just make a vanilla cake with chocolate frosting. How hard can frosting be? Sugar, butter, milk, I had all those things. I dumped a whole bag of powdered sugar into a bowl. It looked like a winter wonderland in my kitchen. Then I added a stick of butter that was a little too cold. I turned on the hand mixer. The beaters hit the hard butter and launched it across the room like a pale yellow torpedo. It hit the wall with a sad thump and slid down, leaving a greasy streak of failure. At the same time, the mixer, now on its higher setting, created a powdered sugar blizzard. I was instantly coated head to toe in a fine white dust. I looked like a ghost who had lost a fight with a donut. The cake batter itself was a whole other saga. I misread 1 cup of flour as 4 cups of flour. Why? I don't know. Maybe the sugar dust was in my eyes. Maybe I was delirious from the smoke inhalation. The batter became so thick that my hand mixer started making a grinding noise like it was begging for mercy. I had to knead it. Yes, you heard me. I was kneading cake batter on my counter like it was bread dough. It had the consistency of wet cement. I pressed this cake clay into 3 pans and shoved them into the oven, hoping for a miracle. While the cakes were baking, I attempted frosting. Take 2. I found another stick of butter, softened it properly this time, and carefully added the powdered sugar. Things were actually looking good. It was smooth. It was creamy. I was feeling a surge of confidence. I decided to add a little pink food coloring to make it pretty. The recipe said 1 drop. I thought, more is more. I gave the little bottle a confident squeeze. The cap popped off. The entire bottle of neon pink food coloring glugged into my beautiful white frosting. It turned a shade of Pepto-Bismol so violent it could probably be seen from space. It was horrifying. It was glorious. Then I smelled it again. The smell of burning. I rushed to the oven and pulled out my cake pans. The cakes were not cakes. They were 3 perfectly round, black, dense discs. They were hockey pucks. You could have used them as building materials. I tapped one with a spoon and it made a loud clink sound. They were completely inedible. I stood there in my smoke-filled, sugar-dusted kitchen, holding a pot with a chocolate fossil, a bent spoon, a greasy mark on the wall, a bowl of terrifying pink goo, and 3 rock-hard carbon discs. I had failed on every single level. I was a disaster. I looked at the wreckage around me, covered in flour and failure, and I just started laughing. It was so absurd, so colossally bad that it was hilarious. I took a picture of the whole mess, sent it to my friend with the caption, "Happy birthday, I made you this," and went to the store to buy the best, most professionally made cake I could find. And you know what? We laughed about it all night. Sometimes the biggest failures make for the best stories. My journey to be a domestic goddess ended in complete and utter chaos, but hey, at least it was funny to tears. So if you've ever had a massive cooking fail, let me know in the comments below. Share your disaster stories, I'd love to read them. Let's all feel a little better about our kitchen catastrophes together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of glorious failure. See you next time.